Welcome to Just Weird. Tonight we're going to talk about Sasquatch, also known as Bigfoot. And Merriam-Webster defines Bigfoot or Sasquatch as a hairy creature like a human being reported to exist in the northwestern US and western Canada and is said to be a primate between 6 and 15 feet tall. So I just thought I would get the general definition of Bigfoot for us to get started.
Yeah.
And you like to study Bigfoot as well, right, Lisa? And
Yeah,
Sasquatch?
I enjoy reading about it. I think there might be something to it. I think some people are just seeing, um, some kind of ape or something, but then I think other people may be seeing something different, that hasn't been discovered, or maybe
Yeah.
something that's crossed over from something. Not sure
Uh,
the theories about that.
yeah. Yeah, I thought we could maybe talk about a couple of our, theories that we've heard about what actually is Bigfoot.
Yeah,
Um,
good idea.
so I thought first I would just, talk about how it seems to be everywhere in the world, really. So of course, Bigfoot or Sasquatch in the Northwest USA, and then there's the Yeti. Well, it's called Yeti in like Asia and the Himalayas, and then I heard that it was called Yowie in Australia. I don't know if you had heard of that before.
No, no, I haven't
Is
heard
it
of that one. But
that?
I've heard Yeti and Sasquatch and Bigfoot.
Yeah, and then supposedly in the southern United States, it can be also called Booger or Skunk Ape because of the
Yeah,
smell. It supposedly smells real bad.
I've heard of Skunk Ape. But it's such
Uh,
a weird name.
I
I
know.
don't know
I hadn't heard
what's
that
up
one
with that
before.
one. Because it
Yeah,
sounds like a skunk, I guess the smell. But
yeah. And when I was reading up on it, it's just doing some research. It said that this sort of variations on an archetype known as the wild man. This was in a Smithsonian magazine. It said that the legend is old and spans many cultures, and usually the story involves some large, hairy figure like a man but different. So apparently, this idea of a sort of hairy ape man-like creature has been around for a long time.
yeah.
So, and so I just thought maybe we could talk about like what are the different theories about what it might be. And so you had a couple ideas.
Oh, well, I'm not really sure what it could be, but I think it could be like some kind of undiscovered, like, what is it, a hominid or something?
Yeah, yeah. That's what
Um,
I kind of think too. That it's maybe sort of like an ape or gorilla, like the way it looks. You know,
mhm.
if you watch the Patterson-Gimlin film, have you seen that?
Yeah, yeah. That's
And oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I thought that was pretty convincing. I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, it's a fake," but I don't know. If you compare it to other videos that are fake, it does look a bit different, I think.
Yeah, at first when I first saw it, I thought, "Oh no, that's just someone dressed up." But then the more I looked at it and listened to sort of experts talking about what was it? It was it 1967 when that came out? I think.
Yeah, I think so. They were up in California, I believe.
Yeah, and supposedly, they didn't have good enough special effects or
Oh yeah,
uh,
1967 in Bluff Creek in California. I think that's
yeah. So supposedly they didn't have good enough sort of makeup and effects to make a creature, a fake creature that
Oh,
looks
you're
that
right. I
real.
hadn't thought about that. You're right.
And then I was this is a little weird, but I was trying to draw um they call it Patty from that film, I guess because it's supposed to be a female Sasquatch. And when I was trying to draw it just to make my own like to make postcards, and the I was trying to draw it, I'm like, wow, this is nothing like a human form because the legs are huge, the thighs are really wide, and
Hmm.
then the way it's sort of standing is it's not like how humans walk. If you try and copy that stance, it's it's actually pretty hard to do. So
Yeah,
that, yeah, that kind of convinced me actually, just trying to draw it and realizing this has got different proportions from humans. This is really weird.
yeah,
So,
it is. And the way it steps, it's like it steps with the heel first, and then it kind of the rest of the foot goes
uh,
down. It kind of um, grips the ground up with the toes and stuff as it goes.
oh
It's
yeah,
well, the way it steps is it steps with the heel down first. I thought that was weird.
and
Nobody
it's
does that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's got that foot that's supposedly I forgot what they call it, but it's got like a crease in the middle or something. The
Yeah,
foot's different from humans. It's well based on the footprints, of course.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah. Um, I'm just
And
just looking at my notes, see what else.
then, I think you mentioned that what's it called? Gigantopithecus was an extinct ape or something that lived in
Oh
South
yeah.
Asia. They said it was like millions of years old. It could be dating back millions of years. I'm not sure how they can date all that far back, but
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was in this website called rewild.org. And
hmm
yeah, and it was saying maybe that might be what the story of Bigfoot's based on. It said an oral tradition of the Yeti based on a real life giant ape that existed in Asia between 2.6 million and 100,000 years ago, which is kind of a big amount of time. So I don't know. Like you say, how do
yeah,
they age it like that?
I know. I don't understand that either. They
Yeah.
said that I think they said that they were discovered in 1935, the bones of that thing. I guess they
Uh,
identified molar teeth.
oh
Um,
yeah. I do remember reading that. Um, and they think that they could have been alive like when early humans were alive, like Homo erectus. So
hmm
maybe I guess early humans passed down the story or the oral tradition of this giant ape creature.
Oh yeah, it could
Oh,
be. They had like last 2 weeks ago in church. I was reading through the Bible. Sometimes I get bored and I'll just read through all the preachers talking, and I was looking. I think there's at least two verses. Well, there was at least two verses where I read about the Nephilim. It's like a
oh yeah.
yeah. So I wonder if that. I
Is
don't know if there's a connection there. I'd like to read up more on that.
was that like the giant people?
Yeah, yeah. Well, they had the Philistines, and then they had the Nephilim. The Nephilim were like some kind of giants that um they think descended from, like, they call it the sons of God, which could have been like the fallen angels.
Ah,
And they mated with like humans, and then there
oh
was
wow.
Nephilim. But I don't know. I always wondered why they mentioned them in the Bible, and
Yeah, I mean, I've heard other people
they never
talking
really
about that.
described them though. They never really. I mean, they described them as being really tall, but I don't remember them saying they were hairy, but I was kind of about that.
Well, that Ron Moorhead that we actually met him at the Bigfoot festival,
hmm
and he's like a Bigfoot expert. Didn't he mention something about them in his book?
I
Or
think he
people with
did.
sort of giant skulls? They'd find these skulls in South America or something.
Yeah, that's right. He did. I'm still reading that book. I'm still reading his book. It seems like every time I try to read something, something comes up. But
Yeah,
I'm reading the quantum book that they wrote. That was pretty good.
yeah, yeah. I
It's
know.
called the Quantum Bigfoot, I think. Um, but so I'll let you know what think of it after I finish it. But um,
Yeah,
I
I
think
know.
you read one of his books.
Yeah, I got the Voices in the Wilderness. When we went to the Bigfoot festival, and that's about how when in the 1970s he was had some friends that were out camping, and I think it was the Sierra Nevada mountains in California, and they
hmm
had told him that they kept hearing these weird noises when they were out at like a hunting camp. So he and I think another guy went up, and this happened over several years, so it wasn't just one time, and it was way out in the middle of nowhere, and they had to have a mule kind of like carry their stuff up the mountain. And they recorded what they call now the Sierra sounds. that sounds like it's just these weird noises that they claim must have been Bigfoot. And he's if you go to his website, he's just ronmoorhead.com, and you can actually he's got a recording on there on it and listen to some of the weird sounds that they recorded. And so this apparently happened over like several years. I had heard about these before and thought, oh, it was just a one time thing, but they went back to this same camp like many times. And apparently, I'll just read a little tiny bit from his book here. It says that, um, so he said it wasn't bears that was making all this noise. He said, unlike bears, they were visiting us almost nightly and interacting with some very unusual vocalizations that were directed at us. And he said they made like a weird whistle, and then they had like this weird chattering, this like he calls it like a samurai voice or something. Um,
Hmm. Yeah, that was weird sounding.
yeah, yeah. And apparently they would make other like they heard crashing signs right outside their tent, but when they go out there, there'd be nothing. Like nothing was out of place or anything. So he definitely has some theories about it being kind of a supernatural element to Sasquatch because he says um and I think they think they're really intelligent because they only ever made the noises when they were in their tents, and then when they come out, it stopped or they wouldn't be able to find anything. And they tried to put up like cameras and recording devices, and the cameras would always somehow get knocked down. They were never able to actually record them on a camera. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, I think he thinks that it's like a multi-dimensional being that it can cross, dimensions, and I don't know. I want to read more about that because that is interesting. Um,
Yeah, I guess that's people say, oh well, they just sort of vanish into thin air. So some people do think that they can go in different dimensions, like you say.
yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know
It's so
if I
weird.
believe that. Do you? What do you think about that?
I don't know. I think it's a possibility. I think there may be other dimensions. I mean, I think that may explain some of the ghost sightings that people, have, and
Oh, that's
uh,
true.
but I'm not sure. I need to read up more on it. But I mean, it's a
Yeah,
possibility. There's a lot of strange things out there that scientists haven't discovered yet, and
that's true. That's true. And species too. They have of animal species they haven't discovered.
yeah, because I know they recently discovered some strange type of octopus or something up in. It's a giant
Oh,
octopus up in our Antarctica. I read an article about that the other day, and then there was a really old shark that they discovered like last year or something that they thought was
wow.
extinct. So there's all sorts of stuff that can.
Yeah. It wasn't there the my kids were telling me something like a little salamander, the axolotl or something was recently discovered.
Oh, it
There's
could
some
be.
little creature. My kids knew about it. I didn't know about it. But yeah,
I know they read
there's
up
this
on all these things. So
yeah. So it's possible. I can definitely believe it is some sort of unknown or yeah, unknown species of like a ape or something.
exactly
But
that. What do
yeah.
you think about the multi-dimensional theory? Do you think there
Um
are other dimensions or?
I kind of think this like you say anything's possible. I don't see why there wouldn't be, but I don't know if Bigfoot is multidimensional or not. I don't know. Since I've been looking at that Patterson-Gimlin film, I kind of lean on the side of it's like an undiscovered species. That's my
Yeah,
but
exactly.
that's not to say it's not possible. I don't
Well,
know.
that's true. Yeah, it's interesting though. They've had a lot of sightings in North Carolina. I believe there's like 117 sightings or something like that.
Wow. Was it
Um,
in the mountains? In the or
I
was it
think it's
everywhere?
all over because they had one that was really interesting in Craven County, North Carolina. It was back in 2019. They had like a 3-year-old boy who went missing in Craven County, and he was
Wow.
found alive like 3 days later. And they said that he told his family that he had spent some time with a bear
Oh, I
and
think I did hear about that
that the
somewhere.
bear had helped him or
Oh,
something like that. So and people thought, perhaps that wasn't a bear. It was, uh,
yeah.
perhaps a Bigfoot. But that's not really a sighting. But I thought that was interesting. But they have
Yeah.
people, like you said, up in the mountains that have seen. I think Uwari National Forest is a
Yeah,
popular
that's
place for
supposedly
sightings.
has the most sightings. There's a one website. Oh gosh, I forgot what it's called. It's like Bigfoot Research or something. I'll have to look for it. But yeah, it
Yeah.
has
Oh, is it Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization,
yeah,
BFO. I think that's what it's called. Yeah.
BFRO.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
they said there's been over 100 reported in North Carolina since 1977.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. They said that, oh, up in Marion. You remember we went to Marion to the Bigfoot Festival?
Yeah, yeah.
They said in 2018, a woman reported seeing a large bipedal creature walking through her backyard. Um,
Wow.
so I guess Marion is a hot spot for for Bigfoot.
And supposedly that area has a lot of UFO sightings too. I know that.
Oh yeah,
Is
that's
it
right.
some people kind of connect the Bigfoot with the UFO sightings? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I've
I've
heard
heard
all
that.
sorts of weird stories about that. Like I've heard people think that some people think that maybe they come with the extraterrestrials or the extraterrestrials
Um,
let them out. I'm not sure about that.
yeah, or something like the extraterrestrials left them on Earth a long time ago, or something like that.
Yeah, maybe they're just dumping them off. Maybe they're
Maybe
saying, "I don't want to deal with this anymore. Just drop them off over there."
Earth can deal with them.
You're right.
I don't know. Those ones are a little more far fetched for me, but I mean,
But
yeah, like you say, anything's possible though.
yeah, that's well, there is something weird though, is that they haven't really found any bones,
That is, yeah,
and so that makes me wonder, you know,
that's true. Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, like they say, oh well, the only real evidence would be a body or bones or something, and they haven't been able
yeah,
to get that. So that is, yeah, that's the only sort of sticking point, I think.
yeah. Of course, like North America is like huge. I mean,
That's
like
true.
Yellowstone and all that area. There's just like loads of land. I guess bones could be, and nobody would ever see them for years.
And yeah,
But
and
that,
then maybe they bury the dead, like humans do. So there's a good
yeah,
chance we wouldn't find them.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, you would think at some point we would come across something, but maybe they're that rare that, you know,
Yeah, yeah, that's the other thing I was thinking. Like, if there's only a handful of them, it would be really hard to find evidence.
yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
I think that's why some people think that they could be multidimensionals because, we haven't found any bones, but I don't know. I'll
Yeah,
have,
that's true. Or
I'll have to read more about that.
yeah, don't some people think they're shapeshifters? Or is there
Oh
some?
yeah, I haven't read about that yet, but yeah, I saw that in one of the articles I read, and I thought, oh, that sounds.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whenever I hear about shapeshifting, I always think of Marvel comics or something.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a little more. I don't know.
I
It's
haven't
harder to.
quite gotten on that boat yet.
Yeah. There was an article, and it was BBC.com, and it talked about let me see where it is. Talked about the West Coast Native Americans called the Stahalis,
Mhm.
who live in Harrison River Valley, I guess in British Columbia, and they believed they passed down songs and stories about Sasquatch, a supernatural something or other, or shapeshifter that protects the land and people. Sasquatch is the anglicized version of Sasquatch, which means hairy man in their language. So they believe it's a shapeshifter who protects the land.
Well, it could
So I
be.
don't know. Yeah,
That's right.
but
They do have kind of shape shifting. I don't know, legends and stuff. I'd like to
yeah,
know more about those. But I
yeah,
haven't.
me too. And I've heard some podcast I was listening to, they were interviewing a Native American person, and they were saying that the only bad thing with all this interest in Bigfoot is that people might come and start trespass on sacred land and trying to find the evidence of Bigfoot. So, some groups of people don't really like that. Like, I guess it would
Yeah.
make sense if there's like a bunch of strangers traipsing through your land and stuff looking for Bigfoot. It might get kind of annoying.
Yeah, that would be.
Around your backyard or something.
Yeah, that would be.
Like knocking on trees and
Yeah,
making.
that's something. I don't understand the tree knocking. At the Bigfoot festival, they had
Yeah.
these, people could buy to, knock on the tree. I'm not sure. I guess it's something that attracts the Bigfoot, but
Yeah, they communicate through the tree knocks, but I don't know because yeah, like you say, they're selling these sticks basically.
yeah, maybe it's a sales item.
Yeah, it's like tree knocker. For like, I don't remember how much they were, but I don't know. That to me is like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't know
really want to
about
buy a
that.
stick.
I know. I saw those. I was like, oh, no thanks. I'll just get
Yeah,
a t-shirt instead.
yeah, yeah. I bought this stick for $20.
I do like my mug though. I bought a coffee mug from there. Yeah,
Yeah, they
definitely. I
did have
like
some
that.
good souvenirs. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I guess
that was a great festival.
what's that?
Oh,
Sorry.
that was a great festival. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, yeah. And it does bring tourists to kind of like smaller towns that might not normally get visitors. So
Yeah,
I think that's good.
yeah, I do too.
I think most of the people there were just kind of having fun, and I don't know how serious they were about
Yeah, I'm not
I'm
sure
not
either.
sure.
Maybe that lady that had it go through the backyard though. I'm sure she was
Oh yeah.
probably one of the more serious people there.
Yeah, it would be kind of startling if you see a group of people knocking on trees in your backyard one night. Probably wouldn't be. Well, you think maybe we could do a follow-up episode
Yeah, let's do a
somehow?
follow-up episode, and I'll
Yeah.
try to get my uncle.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I'll try to interview him, get a recording of it because that was a really interesting story he had. Um,
Yeah, you think he possibly had a Bigfoot experience? It sounds
yeah,
like
yeah.
it. Yeah.
That was he told me about that when I think I was around 7 when he told me that story, and I would ask him every time, "Can you tell me that story again?" Every time we saw him, it was very interesting.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do a follow-up episode about that.
Yeah, it
And
sounds.
then if any of our listeners have any Bigfoot experiences too, that'd be great if they could call in. And you said there's we have a voice line or
Yeah,
something?
there's something. There's a link on there to leave voicemail. So yeah, if anybody wants to do that, that would be great. We would love to hear from you.
Yeah. Yeah, well we'll definitely plan on doing a follow-up episode.
It definitely. That sounds good.
Yeah. And then if anybody wants to listen to the Sierras, like a little sample of the Sierra sounds, it's just Ron Moorhead. So RonMorehead.com. And he's got some links so you can have listen to a little snippet of the supposed Bigfoot voices, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it sounds.
Okay, I guess we'll wrap it up now. Thanks for listening tonight as we had fun talking about Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Yeti, whatever you choose to call this unusual cryptid. Please stay tuned and join us for our next episode.